This is my 2006 Volvo V70R M66. Runs great. Just put a fresh angle gear and collar sleeve and seal kit into it, as well as replaced the oil pan and did the PCV system. Also put a Mototech downpipe and IPD ECU or catback exhaust on there, so it sounds great. Works great. Honestly, not much to say about it mechanically other than it runs perfectly. It does have a small oil leak behind the camshaft seal, so next time the timing belt gets done, that needs to get changed out. So that's something to note. Yeah, which is going to come up in probably 15,000 miles or so. I did the timing belt at 105,000 miles. OEM timing belt, 100,000 mile life on it. Okay, I'm just doing a hill start. Just wanted to show you what it sounds like when you get on it. Not like a ridiculous pull or anything, but yeah, as far as the volume in here with the catback exhaust and the downpipe, it's really not too bad. If you're not into the sound, you might find it, it's an aftermarket exhaust, so it's going to be louder than an OEM exhaust. But I think it sounds great. It's a inline 5, so it's a really distinctive exhaust note. And yeah, when you open it up, it sounds fantastic. And when you're not really on it, like we're just idling at LA right now, it really isn't much different from stock at all. Yeah, the AC works great. The stereo works great aside from, here, let me show you. The rear left speaker buzzes a bit, so I was actually going to open that up. Let's see. So it sounds totally fine unless you're really playing something bass heavy, which is not something I do a lot. But if you're an audiophile, you might want to change out the rear left speaker or figure out what's buzzing back there. Yeah. Just want to drive it around a little bit so you can hear it. So obviously nothing too bad audio-wise here in terms of sound levels. I will get on it a little bit so you can hear what it sounds like when you're full throttle on it, see what the worst of it is. Let me just take a turn here. I don't race it. I did autocross it once. When I got some Michelin Pilot Super Sports on there. I won my class. I was very happy about that. Actually, no, I not first place. I got second place. But yeah, really impressive for being a 3,800 pound station wagon. But yeah, I don't really race it. It's not really that kind of car. It's more for being a highway monster. And just being kind of checks all the boxes for me. It's practical, has a lot of power, great, handles great. But yeah, I'm just moving on. So looking for something that is electric. So getting out of this internal combustion game entirely. One thing I forgot to mention, the suspension settings work as intended. I changed out all 4 dampers. I got the car at 100 2,000 miles, I think it was. So I changed out all the dampers with OEM, not Volvo branded, but Monroe branded, since they're the ones that make the dampers to begin with, so I didn't feel bad about that. But yeah, so they work great. The full settings, you can turn it into a skateboard if you want to, or you can turn it into a skateboard that has some suspension. It's never, I wouldn't say it ever rides like a Cadillac, but it does soak up small bumps incredibly well in the comfort setting. It will, you may have read about this, it will crash on bigger bumps. Just because of the nature of the suspension, it's just not programmed with the latest, the most modern programming. So if it hits a big bump, it kind of thinks it's falling off a cliff, so it firms up the suspension and you hit it really hard. So you kind of want to dodge big bumps in this car, but it does make a big difference to turn on the advanced, or really I drive it around most of the time in sport mode. The biggest difference I notice driving wise when you go to advanced is the engine mapping. The throttle mapping is much more aggressive, which is really nice. It makes it feel a lot more sporty, and obviously the suspension getting pretty tight really makes it feel more like a sports car than it has any right being.